Hello students from my English 130 class. This is Professor McGuire, and I wanted to take a few minutes to go over the final project. I tried to upload some copies of final presentations from my former students, but unfortunately Halo would not support that. So I'm making this quick video for you so you can see an example of how this could be done in a really great way. So what I did is I created one for Long Way Down, which is a book that we read as a class. So this way it's something that you're all familiar with and you can see some options for doing this. So one of the things that you'll notice on my cover slide here is that I have the book jacket, I've got the title, I've got the author, and I even happen to include a picture of the author. This next slide is just the instructions. You won't have to put this into your slide deck, but I'm putting it here just as a reminder. So first of all, it does say to create a 15 to 20 slide PowerPoint. It could be less slides, it might be more, just depending on how you do that. The main thing is that you have enough information. You've covered all of the information, the points that are needed to be graded, and that the slides don't look too cluttered. You can use PowerPoint, you can use Canva, whatever works for you. Please note, however, that a lot of times Halo will not cooperate, and so I've had my students need to turn their PowerPoints or their Canva slides into a PDF. If you do use Canva or Google Slides, you'll also have to give me permission to look at it. A lot of times my students have it locked down, and if I can't get access to it, then I can't grade it. Okay, so let's look at what we need to have. We need to have the title, author, publisher, date in correct APA format, and an image of the book jacket. You'll need the reading level. Most of the time you can find that like on Amazon. You'll need to put the genre, meaning what genre is yours within the scope of young adult literature. Give a brief overview of the plot, but please don't give any spoilers because we might all want to read the book that you are presenting on. Please identify some of the themes that are a part of the book, and then also include a distinct passage, something that's important from the text that you feel stood out to you. Give some background information about the author, maybe a biography, some highlights from their website. You could give information about some of their other written works. You do need to also include any awards that the book has received or any notable attention to that author. If there hasn't been anything, you still need to address that. Don't just delete this slide. So just say that there has been no, award. There have been no awards that have been, given for this text. And that's similar to point number 9, which is about the book being challenged or banned and on what grounds. So if your book has not been challenged or banned, again, don't, delete this slide out. Please address that, just say this book has not been challenged or banned, to your knowledge. The next one is interdisciplinary connections, and I'll go over that in a minute when I get to that slide. Also include what kind of readers might enjoy this, and would it be a good text to use with reluctant readers? And it's okay to say no if it's not. So just be honest. You guys are going to be future English teachers, so start using discernment in that area. And then similarly with number 12, talk about, do you think it should be in an English teacher's classroom? Is that a yes? Is it a no? The next one can be a little bit challenging. You have to look for some scholarly research that's been done on this text, the author or the genre. Put that in APA formatting. So this could be about the book itself, it could be about the author, or it could be the genre. Sometimes this can be hard depending on what book you have, and especially if it's a newer book, there might not be any information, at this time on that. So go say with the genre. Maybe you're doing a graphic novel, maybe you're doing a fantasy, maybe you're doing a dystopian. So you can find scholarly literature on that. And then the last point is to provide some lesson plan ideas. I usually just go to Teachers Pay Teachers and I look at the free examples, and I have no problem with you using something from somebody else, a lesson plan that's already created, but just make sure that you cite that. And again, you'll see it on the slide that I have. All right, so let's get started. So what I've got on this slide, I've got the book jacket again. You can see that I have the APA format of the book. I've given the reading level, that's the Lexile score. I have said that Long Way Down is contemporary realistic fiction. The readers that might enjoy this would be junior high, high school, and I believe reluctant readers would enjoy this as well. And I would say, yes, it does belong in an English language arts classroom. My next slide I have is just the about Jason Reynolds. So I've got a photo of him. I've included some information about where he was born and raised, how he was inspired by rappers such as Tupac, Biggie, and Queen Latifah as far as his writing inspiration. I've given information that he didn't really like to read until maybe about 17 years old. Worked in a bookstore. So just anything that stands out that you think would be interesting for somebody else to learn about the author. And then on mine, I happen to include the website link. So totally up to you guys. So be creative. My next slide is I gave my overview of the plot. I've said that it's a free verse novel. It tells the story of an African-American teen boy at a crossroads. And then I just gave another little sentence of detail. And again, but no spoilers in this. Some of the themes that came up would be like repetitive mistakes, that cycles of violence. It's definitely a coming of age. There's memories. There's revenge, of course. We see that a lot in this text. There's loyalty, especially with like the rules, grief, and fear. The passage that I picked, I went ahead and I just did a screenshot out of the text because it was easier, but you can do it your own way. You can type it all out. Let's see, next one, I put a big old list of awards because Jason Reynolds has been awarded many, many awards on the books that he's written, and in particular this text. So again, just a list is fine. As far as challenges, Long Way Down was challenged, and it was challenged for gun violence and language. I did put in a quote that came from Jason Reynolds on the topic of challenged and banned books, and part of it just says, to censor a book is to damage the framework in which we live. So I thought that was just an interesting thing to add in. Now, an interdisciplinary connection. What that means is, how could the text be integrated into other subject matters? So for example, Long Way Down, we could, just read it as we did, but an English teacher could also integrate poetry. It could be integrated with social studies, topics such as culture or gun violence. You could even do science with smoking and like the lungs, because some of the characters in the elevator were smoking. Here's my scholarly research, and so you can kind of see that I've got something from New York Times, the Washington Post, and the school library journal. One of them just is on, books that could help talk about gun violence. And this article in the New York Times cited Jason Reynolds' book as one of those. The next one is from Washington Post. It's Book World, Jason Reynolds Spreads the Word. And then the last one I found from the school library journal was more about the graphic novel version. Some of the lesson plan ideas that I found, again, you'll note real tiny on this slide that my lesson plan ideas came from Teachers Pay Teachers. I'm citing where I got them from. So Book Talk by Mandy in the Middle. The vocabulary one came from Education with Eric, and the tasks came from Just Another Smith. So I just did some little screenshots of some ideas that a teacher could use in a classroom for lesson plans. And then I also included some other lesson plan ideas, such as anagrams, the timestamps. Maybe a personal journal would be interesting to do as your students are reading this. Socratic seminar. You could also introduce free verse poetry. And of course, I think it'd be great to also introduce your students to the graphic novel. Oh, and something I didn't put on here. There's an audiobook of this, which is fantastic, and it's Jason Reynolds reading the text. I did this with my class last semester, my in-person class, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So that would be another lesson plan idea that I would have. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please message me in the private forum. Good luck with this assignment, and I am excited to see your final projects. Have a great day. Bye-bye.